Long before Mobland and the Bike Riders showcased Tom Hardy's continued dominance in crime dramas, the British actor gave a performance in 2012 that redefined his career and solidified his unique place in Hollywood. That film, Lawless, remains one of the most underrated entries in the gangster genre, an atmospheric blend of outlaw Western grit and Prohibition-era mob drama that quietly became a cult favorite. 13 years later, it still stands as one of Hardy's most transformative roles. Lawless is a forgotten gem based on a true story. Directed by John Hillcoat and written by musician Nick Cave, Lawless is adapted from Matt Bondurant's historical novel The Wettest County in the World, based on the real-life exploits of the Bondurant brothers in rural Virginia during the Prohibition era. While many gangster stories focus on the big cities, Chicago, New York, Atlantic City, Lawless shifts the spotlight to Franklin County, Virginia, and the overlooked violence, corruption, and resistance that defined America's backwoods moonshine trade. The film explores themes of survival, power, and myth-making. At its center is the notion of immortality, not in the literal sense, but in the way legends are born from bloodshed and bravado. The Bondurant brothers believe they're untouchable, hardened by war, disease, and countless near-death encounters. That belief is tested in the violent power struggle that unfolds between local moonshiners and corrupt lawmen. Tom Hardy's Forrest Bondurant is a towering force of nature. Among the stacked ensemble cast, which includes Shia LaBeouf, Jason Clarke, Jessica Chastain, and Gary Oldman, it's Hardy who commands every scene he's in. As Forrest Bondurant, the stoic, gravel-voiced leader of the trio, Hardy fuses quiet menace with emotional depth. He says little, but every word feels like a growl from deep within the earth. Hardy's Forrest doesn't need to shout to intimidate. He simply exists, and that's enough to make others tremble. What makes his performance even more remarkable is the physicality he brought to the role. At the time, Hardy had just wrapped filming The Dark Knight Rises, where he played the villainous Bane. He was still carrying the bulk he'd added for that role, and while the real Forrest Bondurant was a leaner man, Hardy's imposing physique lent Forrest a mythic stature, one that amplified the film's larger themes of invincibility and frontier justice. Rather than recast or delay, the filmmakers leaned into Hardy's transformation, and the result was a version of Forrest that felt mythic yet grounded. A genre-bending story, held together by family and grit. While Lawless functions as a crime thriller, its rural setting and outlaw ethos blur the lines between gangster epic and Western. There's a haunting stillness to the way Hillcoat shoots the Virginian landscape, drenched in dust and decay. The brutality comes in short, shocking bursts, knife fights, shootouts, and throat-slitting deals gone wrong, all of which serve the deeply personal story at its core. At the heart of Lawless is family. The film tracks Jack Bondurant's LaBeouf, coming of age as he struggles to earn the respect of his older brothers. Hardy's Forrest, meanwhile, quietly shoulders the weight of keeping his family alive. His loyalty, strength, and eventual vulnerability form the emotional backbone of the film. The legacy of Hardy's role in Lawless. Hardy's portrayal of Forrest Bondurant helped cement the kind of roles that would come to define his career: stoic, often silent men whose emotions simmer just beneath the surface. This role came at a pivotal moment in Hardy's career, released in the same year as The Dark Knight Rises. While Bane showcased his ability to create a theatrical, larger-than-life villain, Lawless reminded audiences of his skill at portraying internalized strength and raw human emotion. In retrospect, Lawless is one of the clearest examples of how Hardy can dominate a film without needing to dominate the dialogue. It also helped launch a series of similarly gritty roles, from Peaky Blinders to Legend to The Revenant, where Hardy consistently played characters built on a foundation of menace, mystique, and surprising tenderness. Conclusion: a performance that still resonates. Tom Hardy's performance in Lawless may have flown under the radar at the time, but more than a decade later, it's clear that it marked a turning point. As Mobland and the Bike Riders rekindle his affinity for gangster roles, Lawless remains a defining moment where Hardy merged myth with man and gave audiences one of his most unforgettable portrayals. If you're a fan of crime dramas, westerns, or Tom Hardy's remarkable ability to command the screen, this hidden gem deserves a second look.